Tell you a story about Jack and the Beanstalk.
No.
Jack lived all alone with his mama, and they didn't have anything to eat. They'd eaten up all their food. The only thing they had left was a cow. And the mama said, "Tomorrow you must take the cow and go to market and sell her for some money, and then we'll buy us some food." So the next morning Jack got up earlier than usual. He hung a horn around his shoulders and he started out with the cow. On his way to market, he met a queer little old man. "Good morning, my lad," said the queer little old man. "Where may you be going this fine day?" "And what are you going to do with that fine cow?" "I'm taking her to market," said Jack. "Oh," laughed the queer little old man, "since you know about beans, look at these nice colored, rainbow-colored beans. I'll give you this whole handful for that cow." Oh, Jack thought that was a bargain. So he took the beans and he ran home to his mother. "Look, Mother," he said gleefully, "I got all these pretty beans for the cow." "Oh, you stupid boy," she cried. "Now you'll have to starve." And she opened the window and she flung the beans out on the ground. The next morning Jack woke up early. He ran into the garden and found a beanstalk had sprung up during the night from the beans that his mother had thrown out the window. They'd grown so quickly they had gone clear out of sight. And Jack, being a curious little boy, he decided he'd climb. So he climbed and he climbed and he climbed till he reached the top of the beanstalk. There on the top of the beanstalk was a castle. And there was a beautiful woman sitting there. And she said, "I'm a lady fairy. And I want you to know the true story about the giant. He's a wicked old giant. He killed your father, and he stole all his gold and precious things. And if you and your mother are ever going to be happy again, you must punish that old giant." Toward evening, he came to the door of the castle. He blew his horn, and a cook as broad as she was tall opened the door. "I'm very tired and hungry," said Jack. "Can you give me supper and a night's lodging?" "Oh, you don't know what you're asking," said the blue, "because a giant lives here." So she took him in and she fed him. But she was afraid the old giant would get him. And then she hid him in the oven where the giant wouldn't find him. Pretty soon here come the big old giant, and he had big feet and he made a big thump, thump on the floor. And then he sniffed the air and he said, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind these bones to make my bread." "Oh, you're dreaming," laughed the cook. "But there's something better. Look at all this good supper I brought you." And there was Jack looking out the hole in the oven and seeing the old giant eat his dinner. And then after the old giant had eaten all his dinner, he said, "Bring me my hen." And she brought this little ruffled hen and put it on the table. "Lay," shouted the giant. And the hen laid golden eggs. Again and again the giant shouted his orders until that little old hen had laid 12 golden eggs. And then the giant went to sleep. And he snored so loud that the house shook. And with the biggest snore, all of a sudden Jack was shaken right out of the oven. He seized the hen and he ran off as fast as he could to the top of the beanstalk. Oh, he climbed down quickly and carried this wonderful hen to his mother. And day after day the hen laid her golden eggs. But Jack kept thinking about that wicked giant who had killed his father in the fairy's command. So one day he climbed the beanstalk again. This time he had dressed himself to look like a little girl, as he did not want the cook to know him. And sure enough, when the woman came at the door, she did not recognize that he was the little boy she had hid in the oven. "Please," said Jack, "can you give me some food and a place to rest? I am so hungry and tired." "You can't come in here," answered the cook. "Once before I took in a tired and hungry young runaway, and he stole my master's precious hen that lays the golden eggs." But Jack talked so pleasantly that she thought, well, maybe she'd better feed him. So she brought him in and she fed him. Then she turned a big kettle over the top of him. Just at that time, here came the old giant with his big feet again. Thump, thump, up and down the hall. And the old giant was going, sniff, sniff, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make his bread. And the cook says, oh, that's all nonsense. Here's your nice supper. Why don't you eat that? So he ate his supper, and then he said, fetch me my harp. And the cook brought in a beautiful harp with strings of pure gold. Play, commanded the giant, and the harp began to play all by itself. Soon the giant's snores drowned the sweet music. Jack jumped from under the kettle, and he seized the harp. But no sooner had he slung it over his shoulder than the harp cried out, Master, master. Jack was frightened and ran for his life toward the top of the beanstalk. He could hear the giant running behind him, thump, thump, thump with his big feet. Jack reached the top of the beanstalk and he slid down it quick as lightning, all the while calling to his mother, Mother, bring the axe. Jack's mother brought him the axe, and when she met him on the ground, and there was no time to lose, for the giant was already halfway down. With one slashing blow, Jack cut the beanstalk. There was a crash, and the giant lay dead at their feet. Then Jack told his mother all the story about the beanstalk, but it never grew again.